Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cities Climate Action Summit. Thank you for being here with us, whether you're watching live or on demand. If you have been watching live, then you'll know I'm Luke Antonio, Senior Editor at Smart Cities World. I'll be your host over the next few days, as well as for this session. So those of you who have been watching live may well be joining us just off the back of our last panel discussion on the current progress on climate action plans and next steps. If you've missed it, it will be available on demand to watch back at your leisure. So keep an eye out for that when it goes live. For now, though, I'm joined by Mark-Emil Talivere, innovation expert in the City of Tallinn, to find out a bit more about how the city is being used as a testbed for technology and some of the potential use cases as part of that for environmental sustainability and climate action. Mark, I'm going to hand over to you, and we'll take it away with your slides. But before we do, a quick introduction to who you are, what you do.
Yes, thank you, Luke. My name is Mark. I am the innovation expert here in the City of Tallinn in the Strategic Management Office. So all of these climate action plans more or less get delivered to us. And as mentioned in the keynote as well, then there is nothing natural about the problem. And the solution to that problem will probably not happen naturally as well. So what we do here in Tallinn is we basically take action. And one of these actions is to bring new technologies into the city to help us tackle the climate change problem. And by doing that, we hope to see more innovation in the city and more new ideas fostering here. And the slides as well, if I could get them into the studio. Yeah, nice. So by looking at the attendees here as well, then I noticed many private or the players from the private sector, and most of them can perhaps testify that historically cities and municipalities have been rather seen as perhaps cautious when dealing with new tech, perhaps even a bit slow or even conservative partners for tech and startup companies. So I'm happy to announce that in order to tackle this, we have started a Test in Tallinn project or a program or an incentive together with being the Green European Capital of this year. So next slide, please. And perhaps we need to take a broader look first as to even why Estonia and what have we been doing for the past 20 years, and what makes us a great partner for startups and technology providers tackling climate change is, first of all, it's a great environment for developing new tech. For a ninth year in a row, Estonia has had a best tax code in an OECD. Its top score is driven by, well, 4 positive features of its tax system. First, it has 20% tax on corporate income that is only applied to distributed profits. Second, it has a flat 20% tax on individual income that does not apply to personal dividend income. Thirdly, its property tax applies only to the value of land rather than the value of real property or capital. And finally, we have a territorial tax system that exempts 100% of foreign profits earned by domestic corporations from domestic taxation. And it's a perfect place for foreigners to start a business, thanks to e-residency, one of our pilot projects in Estonia. And doing business is made really easy and favorable in Estonia as the bureaucracy level is minimal. And it takes around 3 hours to start a company, although Estonia's world record currently stands in 18 minutes. So that's why 90% of people prefer to establish their companies online. Next slide, please. Now, why Tallinn? Well, we like to think of ourselves as rather small and flexible. Only 400,000 people live in Tallinn. That makes us more incentive to innovation. and technologically advanced, of course. What we have found out by doing Test in Tallinn is that we have a great legal framework for testing different technologies and a relatively low red tape and a result-driven mindset. And how it has helped us. For the next slide, you can see that we have been awarded with the Unicorn Capital of Europe. We currently have 1,400 startups, 10 unicorns, 1 billion raised in funding, and third in Europe in the number of startups per capita. That means 7.7 unicorns per million people or inhabitants. And in the next slide, you can see some of these companies as well. Perhaps you might even recognize some of them. They are all fostered from Estonia, from Tallinn, from this ecosystem. But now, for the next slide, let's jump into Test in Tallinn and why or how it is a meeting place for creativity and innovation. Well, we basically encourage companies to dream big, right, and test their technologies in Tallinn. The opportunity of developing products in real life environment is a catalyst, right, to ensure that these new services reach the clients as soon as possible. And think globally, Test in Tallinn is the motto. Now, for the next slide, what's the practicality of it all by doing these kinds of testbed innovation projects? Is well, first of all, we like to create an attractive operating environment in the capital of Estonia, where various green technologies can be tested, with the aim of helping both domestic and foreign companies to reach other urban environments globally with their products and services. And for the 9th slide as well, can we go to the 9th one, please? Yeah, one after that. Nice. So for this year, we have 3 main focus areas in Test in Tallinn. We have mobility, we have energy efficiency, and renewable energy. And of course, all of these focus areas are very closely tied to tackling climate change. And of course, the cooperation between these areas and the city and local entrepreneurs has proven to be the most effective thus far. So for the next slide, please, I'll explain a little bit more on how we help companies. Right. So first of all, we give them access to real life environments that most companies find it hard to do. Of course, find suitable locations for different test projects. We facilitate the guidance so that the entrepreneur doesn't have to contact each city department individually. And public open data is playing a big part in this as well. We would, of course, like to receive open data, and we are willing to give out as much as we can to the entrepreneurs. And engage all kinds of partners, of course, starting from the universities, technology or other startups, and the innovation districts, campuses, etc. Next slide, please. So what are we looking for? Well, we want to see a real innovative products and services. We want to see that there is an potential for real improvement to an existing solution that perhaps the city is currently using, or that the other players in the relevant industry are currently using. Of course, the business potential and the scalability needs to be there as well. The technology that is being offered to test should be at least validated in a laboratory environment. So speaking very technically, the TRL level should be at least 5 or 6. And of course, we would like to see a committed team that can actually execute the test. Now for the next slide, please. already can even show you some of the good examples that have been happening for the past 3 months here in Estonia and Tallinn. First of all, Green Gravels, a very interesting company that started last year, and today they are currently in Scandinavian countries, widely used in Denmark and Stockholm. They produce foam glass gravel that's a lightweight recycled material and is useful for a wide range of applications. The second company, G-Scan, is a muon flux technology or MFD detector manufacturer that helps Tallinn to test the capabilities of scanning heritage protected sites with non-crushing technologies, for an example. And it helps Tallinn to understand the integrity of the concrete and other foundation and building material conditions, for example, in bridges or other sites for example, in the old town of Tallinn. And the third company that got approved to test just recently is Hydro Engineeration. The company offers hydrogen-based cleaning for internal combustion engines, and they're currently in development with Tallinn's transportations agency to see what kind of CO2 emissions can be reduced by using these services, and also the average fuel consumptions, etc. And my last slide is, first of all, thanks for listening to me, and if anything you might find interesting to scale in Tallinn or scale in Scandinavia, and this is mainly for entrepreneurs, of course, and the testing in Tallinn seems reasonable to you, then please, we're waiting for your submission to bring your new technologies in Tallinn, and let's do something big together. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Mark. It's great to see the kind of work that you're doing, and also understand the setup in Tallinn to obviously make it a great place for this type of work and this kind of testing to be done as well. And it's this kind of setup, this testbed approach. That's how we're going to find these real world tech solutions outside of development centers to the climate crisis. And I mean, as you've just illustrated, I think with the ease of doing business and being able to get that setup established in the city, I think you probably will get a few approaches from some of our private sector attendees over the next few days. And before I leave you, I wanted to ask you one question from a technology perspective in Tallinn. What do you think is the one thing that is really needed to enable the city to make progress with its environmental sustainability plans?
Sure, and I have actually a very practical use case of what we need, and what we need urgently is sensors that can detect reliably pedestrians and other micromobility users, scooter drivers, bicyclers, etc. How it can help us? Well, we can plan our bicycle roads better. This is one of the big things today, and help us to get a bigger picture of how micromobility users are traveling throughout the city. We already know cars is done already, but now pedestrians and other mobility users are the next logical and very crucial step for us. So perhaps I would like to bring that out today.
Absolutely. I think it makes a lot of sense and ties in really nicely in terms of what you've been talking about through your presentation, in being able to actually embed some of that for testing within existing infrastructure in cities to be able to take that next step. So I've noted that down. You'll see I'm noting these down as we go along, and we'll be publishing all of the responses to this sort of question as we come to the end of the summit in a few days' time. For now, though, as before, it's time to wrap up our session here, but we will be back in a couple of minutes' time with our next panel discussion, where we'll be prioritizing the challenges of building resilience. And don't forget, if you have missed anything so far this morning, everything that we are running here during the Cities Climate Action Summit is going to be available on demand as well. You can also take a look through the agenda, bookmark any of the sessions that you like the look of, to either watch live or on demand when it is available. You'll also see there is a lot more to do around the site than watch the live stream. So in between sessions, we encourage you to go and meet our exhibitors, our sponsors and our partners, all of our collaborators for this event. See what they're doing, engage in conversation and find answers to the questions that you have. For now, though, we're going to wrap up. I thank Mark again for his time. Thank you so much. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes in our next panel discussion. Thank you all so much.